It is a beautiful evening for the beautiful game. Welcome to Edinburgh, Texas, HEB Park for this USL matchup. The only one in the league tonight with Los Dos on the road taking on RGV. Along with Devin Kerr, I'm Dave Lamont. We welcome you to our broadcast tonight. And Devin, I've got good news and bad news if you're an RGV supporter. The good news is they haven't lost in 4 games. The bad news is they haven't won in 4 games either.
Got a little bit more of bad news behind that. Last year they went 0-2-1 versus Los Dos LA Galaxy 2. Only able to scavenge 1 point out of all 3 of those appearances. But I'll tell you what, if anybody can get it done, RGV can. At home, they're undefeated. It's a little bit of an awkward statistic there because they're 1-0-5, so only managing 1 victory, but nonetheless they haven't been defeated at home, and Jerson Echeverry has done a good job recently getting his boys organized. They just can't find the back of the net.
How do they get back into the back of the net? Because they have not scored in the last 2 games.
It's consistency for them. They need to quit going tit for tat. They put themselves behind early and they've had to come back, but they've also been able to keep the ball out of the back defensively. They've remained very sound, but again, going forward, they need more out of Aldo Quintanilla. Matthias Zaldivar, he's been great. Got a couple first-team players of the Dynamo coming in tonight as well, so that'll give them a little bit more experience to help them going forward.
Now we take a look at LA Galaxy 2. This has to be, maybe they don't win that much, but man, are they entertaining.
Super fun, offensive firepower all over the place. Dynamic is a great word to describe them. Unfortunately, unlike RGV, they can't defend. They've let so many goals in the past few games, and it doesn't matter if you put 12 away. If you're letting 14 in, that's going to be a problem. A lot of talent top to bottom, but again, defensive needs to be much more efficient.
Gave up 7 in that game against P2 in Portland. Now, for RGV, a player to watch has to be their leading scorer, Aldo Quintanilla.
You're going to see why exactly right there. 3 goals and 2 assists, and you see the speed. He can stretch the field, gives you a lot of different dynamics, plays well in space, plays well on his own. And we previously talked, you and I, off camera, 86.7% passing efficiency. That's second on the team. That's amazing from a guy who plays up top by himself.
One of the brightest stars in the league is 15 years old. Efrain Alvarez. Watch this shot.
Boom. Absolutely amazing talent. We've seen him do it 3 games in a row, 6 goals. I mean, the guy is absolutely on fire. Big brother actually plays over as Las Vegas Lights, Carlos Alvarez, and with Efrain, he's another one similar, gives you a lot of different looks. Cap for both the US U15s and the Mexico U17s. Love to keep that domestic.
So what breaks tonight? Will it be the RGV defense? Can they slow down Los Dos? It's going to be a real matchup of contrast coming at you after this. Just about time for kickoff here at HEB Park in Edinburgh. Beautiful facility and a great evening for soccer between RGV and LA Galaxy 2. And Devin, let's take a look at the home team lineup first and say what. And you've got a couple of names here we don't often see with RGV.
Now to start off, they actually turned their lineup card in with a 4-3-3, and they were saying that Wharton, Quintanilla, and Perea were going to be sitting in the middle. But you'll see the two guys on the outside. They're the key points for me tonight. Jesus Enriquez on the left, Zaldivar on the right. They need to stretch the field and push. When they go with pace and are able to get down into the channels, it enables the guys in the middle, Quintanilla, Perea, and Wharton, to step up and help and support to make that offense more prolific in order to get a victory.
Max Steves and Jared Watts coming down from the Dynamo to join this RGV lineup tonight. Meantime, for Los Dos, of course, Efrain Alvarez is the name to watch, but there are others who can put the ball in the back of the net in this group.
Big fan of a lot of these guys. And Achampong on the right, Bradford Jameson got a couple appearances for Los Dos as well, but to counteract what we just spoke about, Julian Boucher in the middle and Zonga, they really are going to have to pull the strings. The squad that's only got an average age of about 20 years and 5 months. We talked about the youth being on their side with a technical capability. Size could come into play, but either way, it's going to be a good matchup.
RGV will be in the home orange, Los Dos in the white. You basically are telling me that there's not a guy in Los Dos who can rent a car legally.
Unfortunately, not yet, and their insurance rates haven't dropped yet either. They're still pretty high, but hey, they're out there making money, so that's the most important thing, right?
Our referee is Malik Badawi. He's ready, and so are we. We're underway here at HEB. A beautiful facility, great surface to play this game on as well. Rio Grande Valley has only had 2 goals in their last 4 games. They've only given up 2 goals in the last 4 games, and they were all in the same game, a 2-all draw with Fresno. So they've had 4 straight draws, 3 of which have not had a goal, including the last 2. On the other hand, as we showed you in the open, Los Dos have scored 12 goals, and you think, man, that's incredible. Over the last 3 games, they've only won 1 of them because they're -2 in goal differential. They got lit up by Portland Timbers 2 for 7, including 3 in stoppage time to completely blow that game open the other day on a Friday night last week.
Crazy game between those 2 squads, and that was a pretty close match going into the 80th minute. And like you said, things just exploded. Unfortunately, Los Dos imploded, walking out of there once again without 3 points. But Mike Munoz has these guys out there on a regular basis trying to figure out exactly what they have to do to get the 3 points. And again, for them, it's continuing to gain experience and make sure they get them organized to try and achieve as much as they can at the next level.
Well, the other one of the many contrasts you have here, you have one team in LA Galaxy 2 has not won outside of home, and you have the other team, RGV, has not lost in these confines right here. So a lot of little trends coming into this one. Boucher for Los Dos, loses control of it. Enriquez playing ahead to Quintanilla. Drops it off for Enriquez. It's a little too light, however. Nice play by Hernandez to win possession and get rid of it.
Good combination play by RGV, and that's the speed that we talked about. The young Jonathan Hernandez struggling on that side so far. Good combination play by the Toros, and got to keep an eye on that. It's going to be a rough battle for him.
And they may try it one more time again. Enriquez in the box has Quintanilla open, but again, standing his ground, Jonathan Hernandez, number 67. And a spirited group of drummers has joined the fray at HEB. You can hear him in the background. Good look at Nico Corti, his 4 clean sheets on the year. And Gerson Echeverry. Corti wants everybody out of the way. We got our first foul there, and fairly obvious that Ariano coming up from behind there with the contact.
It's coming right off of Max Steves, the Dynamo player who's showing his face here this evening, and such a huge career he had with the Providence Friars. Usually in situations like this, we'll see Todd Wharton step up. He's got a nasty little strike from distance, but you also get Zaldivar and Enriquez. Looks like Zaldivar is going to step over the ball. I'd be surprised to see a nice little ball floated to the back post.
delivery is headed on, but out of play. RGV disputing the ruling of goal kick, but they're not going to win this one. It'll be Los Dos who'll get the ball back.
Not a bad idea from Zaldivar again. I talked about getting that ball floated to the back post, and you can see the late runners. An opportunity like that, you're up over top of the defender. Got to put something on frame. Good luck, Roberto Castellanos. Talked about the age before, but height's going to come into play as well. So many players on this squad that are above 6 feet. Toro's got to take advantage of that.
Referee ruling advantage that time. A little bit of a late whistle, but it's going to go against RGV. Captain tonight for Los Dos is 18, Julian Boucher, the German. Now a little pressure from Achimpong, back to Boucher. And Achimpong now in a race with Kai Green. Doesn't win the race, but will force a throw-in instead of a goal kick, so a smart play there. Green's throw a little bit light. But now Quintanilla breaks out and is taken down. And out comes the yellow card straight away. And Boucher, the captain, is going to be hit with it.
Classy play by Aldo coming out of the back. A lot of times we'll see him in that 9 roll up top, but they put him in a 10 position here tonight in that 4-2-3-1. See him stepping back a little bit deep into the midfield, picking up the ball.
Did he get the wrong guy with that card?
I'm not really sure why the referee's going with a yellow on that. Probably because it's a professional foul, but it's definitely Julian Boucher in that situation.
But it didn't look to me like Boucher made the contact. I thought it was Riquejo who did it, but you could see Boucher was given that card by the referee. Now Los Dos trying to break out. Achimpong from Ghana. And Green got a foot on that delivery, and Quintanilla has a little bit of room to work with. Ditches it off. They'll head left again. And Enriquez. Too much. Swept out of there by Angola.
On the wrong page there, and already from Mike Munoz, we're seeing a little bit of tactical switcheroo, if you will. Normally we see Bradford Jamieson playing on the left. Munoz deciding to move him on the right and moved Achimpong over to the left. Kai Green's going to have his hands full out there. Haven't seen Kai Green much. It's the addition of Manny Padilla. Kind of going back and forth. A nice little battle between those two. Kai plays on the left as well.
Now for Alvarez. No control on that one. 6 goals for Alvarez this season, all in the last 3 games. And now we do have our first corner kick of the match coming up, as Alvarez's delivery was knocked out of bounds by RGV, and the captain will take the corner. Comes out low and hot and deflected out of play. But off of RGV is the ruling, so Boucher will get one more try. Plenty of room to work with here. Far post this time. Missed everybody. Kyle Adams got a head on it. Alvarez double teamed, but somehow won the ball anyway. And his cross headed away. RGV will try to clear and start the attack over.
Classy step up by the center back, Castellanos.
Saw a little bit of the skills of Alvarez, though. He was double teamed and still managed to win the ball as if those guys weren't even there.
He gets the job done for sure. And that's the biggest thing for him, is he gives you so many looks and so many different attributes, mostly skill set that are required by people at a much older age, at least 2 or 3 years older than him. Again, we talked about only 15 years old, wise beyond his years.
Achimpong now with a through ball to Ethan Zubak, and that's going to force a throw-in for Los Dos. Zubak on the attack that time. So the moment LA putting the pressure on RGV, they get the quick throw-in. And Boucher, good tackle that time to drive it out of bounds. But again, more pressure from Los Dos. Achimpong into the box, and that's going to be swatted away by Jared Watts. And a third corner kick in the last couple of minutes coming up here for LA Galaxy 2.
Early on, Los Dos playing that high line, applying pressure, moving all the players up the pitch, but got to keep an eye on that. RGV likes to do the same thing. They can go in transition quite rapidly. So if they're going to push that high, got to make sure you continuously stay organized on the counter.
Comes out low. Achimpong tried to trap it, could not. And that's finally going to ease the pressure on Nico Corti, and a goal kick coming up. RGV said this is their 7th home match already. They have 1 victory and 5 draws. The last time they picked up 3 points was against Orange County. That was almost exactly 1 month ago.
That was a sort of statement of the year for the USL at that point in time. Braden Cloutier and Orange County were flying, absolutely pressing on all cylinders, and out of nowhere, RGV, who've been 0-3-2, kind of stepped up and just decided to point them in a different direction. Classy from the Toros.
Well, HEB has already become a very difficult place for visiting teams. Corti was wisely let that go through, and Los Dos got off to a very rough start. Winless in their first 7, then routed St. Louis 6-3. But that's their only win so far this year. They have 3 draws on the road. This is their 7th, and they have yet to win. They have only the 1 draw and 5 defeats. As Mike Munoz not terribly happy with the 4th official or the referee's assistant over something.
You run back through their schedule, Dave. You said it for sure. I mean, they were home versus Red Bull 2 a couple of matches back, and then from there, like you said, at Phoenix, lost 4-3. Controlled a lot of that match as well. They made the Rising battle back into that game. Drogba and co were able to get it done. And then dealing with St. Louis, able to get that victory home, but now on the road again, dealing with T2, the 7-3, and then you got to get back at it. Eventually, you would expect something to start falling for them, but again, it's got to be balanced on both ends of the pitch.
So will these trends continue, or is something going to get changed tonight? Again, attacking down that left for Jesus Enriquez. He cannot get there. A little bit overdone. Hernandez looking for some friendly foes, or friendly fire, I should say. Gets rid of it, finally. Too far. And Jared Watts down from Houston will send it too far. So bad mistake that time by RGV, and a corner kick awarded to Los Dos.
Eerily reminiscent to a little faux pas by Jared Watts a few years ago when he was still with Colorado Rapids, turned around and just knocked one into the back of his own net.
Well, he wasn't that close to that, but he blasted that. Nico Corti didn't stand a chance. Now we're going to see Alvarez on the corner. Comes out low. Green, good defense, but Alvarez got some room. He could score from there and almost set up Arellano instead. And RGV survives a dangerous cross by Alvarez.
Good ball movement by the youngster. You mentioned prior to taking the corner kick, Alvarez stepping out to the side, and a good ball played in initially. We've seen them twice go to the near post now, trying to crash the party. Achimpong trying to get on the act on the right and then the left, and then just solid wherewithal. Nice little touch and a swing into the back post. Fortunately, Arellano couldn't get on the end of it, but that's what you want to see from the youngster.
And this will be chased down by Corti. Let's see if he decides to just go ahead and blast away here or try to distribute. Now he's going to go ahead and blast away. A little fore pressure here. Tried to get that to Steves, but didn't work out. A couple of aerial duels, and Wharton will wind up with it. He'll get it back. Long shot, and it's in the back of the net! A tricky little bouncer by Aulo Quintanilla, and RGV has the early lead.
All of this starts from the great ball movement in the middle of the park. You see Todd Wharton took a ball down, gave it back to Perea, came back out to Wharton. As he comes to the right, you almost expect him to play it down into the channel to let Zaldivar run into it. Instead, he plays into negative space. It goes into Aldo, takes one touch in front of him, and you expect better if you're Mike Munoz. Out of your goalkeeper, Wade Hamilton. Can't make mistakes like that. Had an opportunity to make a save. Instead, Quintanilla finds the back of the net.
For the 4th time this season for Quintanilla. He had a lot of room and just figured, why not? We have RGB really had not had an aggressive move toward the goal in this game until there. So the smoke has been released, and it's orange for RGV. They take the early lead, but we have seen LA come back before. They did so against Portland several times before that game just blew up against them. They certainly have the firepower offensively, and for the most part of the first 15-plus minutes, they had controlled the match. Now Wharton again for RGV, and they'll retreat. So Quintanilla picks up goal number 4 to go with 2 assists on the year. A strike from a long way out. And Wade Hamilton looked a little flummoxed by that shot. Quintanilla breaks out again. And a throw-in coming up for RGV. Green will lay it off to Nicholas Perea, number 8. And everyone getting a touch here. Kyle Adams. Enriquez, whose one goal of the year was a spectacular shot a couple of weeks back. Now attack down the right. Offsides is the ruling.
I remember that goal. That was a great job by Enriquez. Ball came across the pitch. Talked about negative space a second ago. He did the same thing, brought it off his left, put it on his right, and they were playing Fresno. Just picked out that upper corner and is able to squeak it by Kyle Rainish.
Now Efrain Alvarez, lead ball. Oh man, he is creative. That's the 2nd time he has had an almost perfect pass. And a goal kick coming up. This time, Ethan Zubak was the target.
This is what you get when you play the 4-4-2, but the 2 up top are sitting. Efrain Alvarez is going to sit behind Zubak, and you'll see him drop into a 10 roll at times, back into the middle to pick up the ball. That's why possesses all the capabilities. See him spray outside a little bit, just splits the back line of RGV and the Toros. Munoz looking a little bit mystified. Zubak wasn't able to get on the end of it.
He slid late. We've talked about Alvarez as a goal scorer, Devin, but we've seen him a couple of times now as a distributor, showing a nice feel.
It's got to be one of the most impressive things about the young man is, again, only 15 years of age. We've referenced it 2 or 3 times now, but you have to. At any level, that's impressive. But when you're dealing with guys that are 25, 26, 27 years old on the pitch tonight, obviously the age can get a little bit older at other squads, but dealing with guys that are 10, 11 years your senior, and you're still able to have the understanding and vision to step out and step in and make the positive plays at any point in time. It's a calm, collected character. Good demeanor by him.
Pretty much he was discovered around age 9.
You and I had the ability to see the article that came out from the Galaxy earlier today, and if you haven't had the opportunity, go check it out. It's a nice one, and one of the highlights of it talks about Efrain Alvarez, the comment that Dave just made, being somewhat discovered at the age of 9. Legend Eric Cantona, former French international, and obviously most people know him for his time at Manchester United.
Little threat here for RGV from Kai Green. Throws it into traffic. Cleared but not out. Green will come ripping and gives Devin a chance to finish the story.
Don't see a lot put on target from Kai Green. You see it there again. Could be one of the reasons why.
Didn't see one either.
And so Eric Cantona was director of the academy for the New York Cosmos, and visiting with the academy players, went out to actually take a look at the U17s and U19s. They didn't really like what he saw, we'll put it that way politely. Ended up wandering over to the U9 field, and Efrain Alvarez catches his eye. He turns to goers and he says, "I've seen enough. I just want to watch this kid all day." So it gives you an idea of, number one, the ability for Eric Cantona to spot talent, but number two, to give you an idea of how talented this young man is and how long he has been, even at such a young age.
'20th minute of our match coming up. Going to go long, and Green will get a little head and flick it for a throw-in. Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit selectsportamerica.com. Receive free shipping on orders over $50. 1-0 RGV over Los Dos. That's going to be another corner kick opportunity here. This will be the 5th for LA Galaxy 2. And once again, it'll be Captain Julian Boucher to take it. Before we have the kick, we hear a blast and a yellow card.
Yellow card issued to LA Galaxy 2, number 46, John Requejo.
So Requejo has been hit with a caution. The second against Los Dos. Boucher had one in minute number 5. Far post this time. A little crashing from LA Galaxy 2. Wharton trying to clear it but could not. And the pressure stays on. Now Adams is able to interrupt that. Nice flip to force the throw-in. At that time, Angola had an opportunity in the box, and now we're going to have a ruling against Los Dos. And it's going to be RGV ball.
Requejo and the young man who picked up a yellow card a few moments ago. Gonna have to get on the bat line and figure out exactly what went on in that situation.
Yeah, that was a bizarre one where Boucher was all set to line up his corner kick, and suddenly a couple of blasts from our referee, Badawi, and out comes the second card of the match. Boucher didn't quite get enough on that for that pass to be complete. Enrique's double teamed, and Boucher just picked him. And is maintaining possession. And then as soon as you say that, he gives it up to Adams, and Adams back to Enriquez. The goal from RGV, the 4th of the season for Aldo Quintanilla. On a strike from distance against Wade Hamilton, who hasn't been called on to do anything else. Neither keeper has been required to, well, except for Hamilton missing the shot, have not recorded a save or really seen any difficult chances.
Gives you an idea of what Los Dos struggles with going forward sometimes. And I'm going to go back to your point. You started off about 4 or 5 minutes ago and you said how Los Dos had controlled the start of the match. They were carrying more possession, but the biggest thing for them was it was purposeful possession. They're in the final third, making RGV play their way out of the back. Los Dos does a good job of holding the ball and moving forward, but here's an interesting statistic that'll give you an idea of what we're seeing. They've got 22 players who are 80% or better holding the ball in their own half. That's knocking the ball back and forth, playing a nice game of catch. They cross over the final third, only 3 of those guys are better than 80. So they move into the final third, and it's great when you can knock the ball into Efrain Alvarez and let him go 1v1. That's not gonna work for you every single time. Eventually people are gonna figure out what your game plan is.
Well, Alvarez might arguably be the most talked about player in the league at the moment. Scoring 6 goals in 3 games at age 15. Got a brace in the game against Portland, and the shots we showed you at the top of the show were both of them absolutely splendid shots. And I remember listening to the Portland commentator who played the game himself and goes, well, I think we just have to worry about his left foot. And the second goal was this wicked half banana that went off his right foot. The goalie couldn't do anything about it. And he quickly understood that Alvarez is a special talent. So you get Kyle Adams on the throw in. Over to Castellanos. Castellanos swings it to Kai Green. Ground ball here to the captain, Wharton. Excuse me, that is 19, Steves. This is Wharton, 14. Now Enriquez has a little bit of room to work. Thought that ball might have crossed the line, but it did not, apparently, in the opinion of the referee's assistant or the referee. Enriquez fighting for space, has a chance, and lifted it over the net wildly.
You could criticize Enriquez moments ago when he gets to the byline. As you mentioned, Dave, you think the ball goes over. Would have let it out if it was me personally, but again, fights back, does a good job trying to redeem himself, gets the opportunity. He's one-on-one with Angola, their right center back, who slides over. Enriquez just trying to pick out the upper corner. Leans back a little bit too much, but good stuff battling back.
Tell you what, Hamilton under a lot of pressure from Steve's able to get off a pretty good kick, and Alvarez now on a run. Alvarez, who will have his chip partially blocked. Zubak goes in the air for it. Castellanos will launch. And can they keep it on the pitch? No. It's tremendous effort made there by Zaldivar, but to no avail. Looks like RGV is going to get it back anyway. Only matchup in the USL tonight. A lot of USL teams are involved in the US Open Cup, and several of them are playing each other, but they had no effect on United Soccer League standings. Get a player's perspective of all the action around the USL every Wednesday as the Tampa Bay Rowdies' Jack Blake hosts The Blake Down on the USL YouTube channel. And our sources are telling us that FC Cincinnati is lighting up Pittsburgh. And Louisville leading St. Louis 1-0, getting late in that one. 3-0 Cincinnati, and that is approaching full time.
Bob Lilly and co. not able to get it done against Alan Koch. Seen some fun nicknames floating around about the Pittsburgh Riverhounds this year. I've seen Pitchester, Roch Rhinos. I've seen the Pittsburgh Bob Lilies, as one of our producers likes to call them. I've also seen the River Rhinos. So cute little nicknames running around.
They all sound like craft beers to me. I'll have a nice River Rhino right now. Alvarez left open, tried to get it through the defense. It could not, and that led to an opportunity with a left foot from distance, but it was rejected by the back line. Look, Jamison, who wound up and tried to fire from just outside the box, but didn't get very far. Possession favoring RGV, about 59 to 41% the early going. As Los Dos looks for their first road win against a team that has not lost at home but has not won a game in a month. As we mentioned at the top of the show, Devin, there's a good news, bad news aspect to the way RGV has played lately. You can't score on them, and by the way, LA hasn't scored yet. But that goal they got tonight from Quintanilla was their first in a couple of weeks.
That all goes back to the comments in the opening, and we talked about them being consistent going forward and needing more out of Enriquez and Zaldivar. And they're going forward. The ball's right around 70% of the time going to the left side of the pitch.
Oh, good tackle that time by Jared Watts, because that could have been dangerous. Wharton's pass to Enriquez interrupted and headed out of bounds. And Adams votes on going all the way back to Corti. A little bit too much for Green, and Los Dos gets an opportunity here with Alvarez. He'll line up and fire. Castellanos blocks. Zaldivar, that's a clever little move there. Who's going to get to this first? And it's going to be Los Dos. Temporarily, though, Angola could not maintain possession. Now Enriquez has him twisted around, launching, and not a chance there for Steves. In the meantime, Achapong shaken up.
Surprised that our head referee Malik Badawi did not blow the whistle in that situation. There was a nasty little challenge. Studs up coming in on Achapong. Saw him go to ground right away. Some frustration by Efrain Alvarez as well. Kind of knocked the ball into the back line, pointed to the referee and motioned at why he didn't get the call in that situation. You're going to get another look here. Ball sprays out. Kai Green's going to turn it over. Achapong steps up, plays the ball across, and Kai Green just follows through with his studs on that right side of the pitch. A little bit too little, too late for Kai Green. Should have been penalized, to say the least.
Well, it's interesting to watch Max Steves try to make life a little bit uncomfortable for Hamilton by running at him full speed and trying to rush Hamilton's kicks. And Hamilton has not been crisp on some of them. Now, he got off a good one there, though. Now here is Ethan Zubak. Zubak's got a lot of room, but does he have enough white jerseys with him? Trying to find Alvarez, could not. And cleared away again by RGV. Getting a little physical there. Two players down. We play on. Enriquez. Quintanilla in the middle. Switch. Zaldivar, top of the box. Fires way off the mark.
Better transition from the Toros going forward. Like Quintanilla stepping up, and he was smart. Realized once he started to get the transition going, shifting into the middle of the field, decided to go back out left. The LA Galaxy 2 backline spread out a little bit more, which is nice. Enabled Requejo to step in and Zaldivar get in around the outside of the left back from Los Angeles Galaxy 2.
From Germany, Julian Boucher. Now a nice little run here by Requejo. Green nudges him. Play on, says the referee. Well, you mentioned earlier that Kai Green was going to be busy today, and he has been. How has he performed so far?
Very wishy-washy. We've seen him almost non-existent in the attack going forward. Which is not. Kai Green usually likes to get up and get around the outside, but his defensive duties have kept him calling. You've seen him make some questionable decisions. The tackle moments ago on Achapong. His formation and shape of the entire back line has actually been out of whack a little bit. Unfortunately, Los Dos haven't been able to capitalize on it.
Now Enriquez. A lot of the attack has been left-handed for RGV. They've gone to Enriquez quite a bit more so than to the right side, at least so far. Perea. Adams moved up, looking for the green shoes of Enriquez. He's marked. Now a little give and go here. Quintanilla is wide. Centers it, looking for Steves, and it's headed away. A little miscommunication that time between a couple of Los Dos players. Alvarez and Achapong didn't quite work out. So it appears, if you just go by their form recently, this is much more an RGV style game than an LA Galaxy 2 style game.
In their wheelhouse for sure. You can see the organization is there for the most part from RGV. They like to hold the ball, a little bit more methodical in their efforts going forward. But again, when they step up, their intentions need to be dictated a little bit more clearly. We've seen Wharton go forward at times. Perea in that holding midfielder position, but they need to connect a little bit better. Quintanilla is isolated a lot, and you need that three-man game in the middle to be able the wings to open up, step down into the channels, and let those positive balls be pushed into space.
Quintanilla, Steves. He heads left now. Quintanilla trying to stay on sides. He was offsides briefly, got back on, had the opportunity there, headed off the line by Arellano. Now Bradford Jamison. Requejo looking for Achimpong. He found him. One getting a touch for Galaxy 2. That's a good idea by Boucher, just heavy on the touch.
Got to give a little shout out to the Stampede in the rhythmic section up there in 112, doing a good job on the steel drums and beating it all night long.
Takes a lot of devotion to stick with it for 90-plus minutes. Yep. Yeah, now they're tired. A little early, the bass drum especially. Taking a little break. Now Lostos trying to find a little gap to attack, and they can't seem to find one at the moment. Requejo, he'll retreat. And they'll start over, as will the band. Gives us a chance to tell you that the USL's official Twitter feed keeps you up to date with news, live game updates, and highlights from around the league 24/7. You can follow at USL on Twitter. With Devin Kerr, Dave Lamont, and our United Soccer League crew, HEB Park, one of the really nice ones in the USL. 1-0, RGV over Los Dos. Western Conference action, the only game on the USL schedule tonight. Both teams with just one win. RGV has 6 draws, including 4 consecutive. LA Galaxy 6 defeats, 3 draws, and winless on the road. They only have 1 draw and 5 defeats. Now Requejo trying to get through and does, but Castellanos shut the door. The goal for RGV, the 4th of the season for Aldo Quintanilla. 2 cautions against Los Dos so far, to Captain Boucher and to Requejo. Jamison on goal, and there's a save for Nico Corti. That should be the first shot on target for LA Galaxy 2 and just their 3rd of the evening.
It's got to be the first or second time that we've seen Bradford Jamison really prevalent on our screen. You see those long legs, does a good job getting isolated against Kyle Adams, playing that 1v1 game. Nice little step over, gets outside. Fortunately, the final effort struck right at Nico Corti. Not much of it. Much better from Jamison, though.
Switch to the right side for Green, right at midfield. Zaldivar. Oh, nifty move by Zaldivar to get through. Now Quintanilla breaks to the right side. Looking for Steve. Through behind him. Steve's trying to get his feet set. Cannot do it. If that pass had been on target, Steves may have had a great chance. Pressure kept on by RGV. Steves again. Now triple team. Loses it. Wharton will pick it back up. Zaldivar trying to fight through 2 defenders. Can't do it. And Achimpong will start the other direction for Los Dos. That was all set up by a spirited run by Zaldivar. And then Quintanilla just misfired on the pass.
And we've seen when they step out onto the touchline, it really opens up space for everything. It can sound a little stereotypical, but some squads don't play that way. They like to be a little bit more direct, going linear. You can see RGV does such a good job in combination. When they give themselves an opportunity in sequences like that to step out, you see Zaldivar. Dave talked about the footwork. Good job getting around him. Good ball to Quintanilla, and watch. He slows up, takes a look into the middle, plays a great ball across. The only critical part here, Steves gets a good touch on it. If you're Enriquez, you have to be screaming at the top of your lungs. He's got his back to the goal. He's almost got no opportunity playing that 2v1 game. Either lay it off or hold it up and let him run onto it. Give yourself a pure goal-scoring opportunity instead of a 50-50 battle in the middle of the box.
That was a weak effort that time. Boucher able to get ahead on it, but ineffectively. As Galaxy 2 tries to keep it in the RGV defensive side. And Quintanilla breaks loose. Hot pass to Steves. Steves trying to get ahead. Needs some help here. And we're going to get the first corner kick of the match for RGV. Looks like Zaldivar will do the duties in minute, just past the 40-minute mark.
All right, it's time for an ATV corner kick.
And Zaldivar wants a different ball. He'll get it. Let's see what the strategy is here. Comes out near post, right to the hands of the goalkeeper, Wade Hamilton. Jamison, a little bit of room. Zubak trying to get organized in the box. Alvarez moving in there also. Jamison lofts it up too far, and that will go harmlessly over the line. It'll be a goal kick for RGV. Take a good look there at Brentford Jamison. The Drums have returned with a vengeance. Jamison will switch to Achimpong. Can he get there first? Oh, Green gets there first. Collision with Achimpong, and that's going to draw a foul. And Devon's reaching into his pocket, but will the referee reach into his?
Hard to believe that a former center back who's been thrown out of more games than he can count is arguing with the referee, but I don't get it. It's just inconsistent refereeing here this evening. He steps in. I mean, the ball's late, the challenge is late. Head-to-head contact. For me, that's a card to the pocket right away. Unfortunately, Badawi deciding differently, but you can see Kai Green dealing with that challenge. A little bit of anguish going on there.
Breezy evening. You can see, if you take a look at the shorts of the players, or even the jerseys, and also you can hear in our microphones, it has gotten windier as the match has gone on, and Green looks like he'll survive.
Is that what that is?
I hope that's.
I thought you were whispering to me.
I'm loud, but I'm not that loud. But you take a look at the breeze there. There's a look at one of the corner flags. That has picked up since the broadcast began. What a great facility this is, by the way. I'm just so impressed. It's just the right size. They have the luxury boxes there, the low end. Really well done.
Toros are very lucky. Not every squad in the USL has the opportunity to have such a amazing venue like you just referenced, and specific to their team as well. Some teams we've stepped out and they have to deal with some baseball conditions, and interestingly enough, did Tulsa a few weeks ago, had the opportunity to watch the Roughnecks play and was chatting with their head groundskeeper, telling us that it took around 12 to 14 hours to move their stadium from a from a baseball environment to a soccer specific stadium. They've installed a removable mound, and then they have streaks of sod that are 150 feet long. It's crazy to think where the game can take you when you step into such an awesome facility such as HEB Park. They've done such a great job here.
We'll see what the stoppage time issue is. Can't be all that long. Still waiting on the sign from the fourth official. Jameson's got a little opportunity here. Launch, trying to get toward Alvarez, a little too far for the 15-year-old, and another goal kick coming up. And we're hearing 1 minute will be the stoppage time. There it is.
Of additional time added, 1 minute.
Does RGV have one more thrust in them? Achampong still angling for a yellow sometime tonight. Just ran over Todd Wharton. I was about to ask if RGV was going to try one more thrust offensively before we get to the dressing rooms, and they may do so right here.
You'll see a long ball lofted in, but don't be surprised if Achampong ends up in the book at some point tonight. He's been on the forefront of the referee's mind the past 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, I was about to say, he certainly has the referee's attention. Oh, good chance here for Quintanilla, just a little too much on it. He'll try again, heel pass, trying to get it to Steves. And there's our whistle. We'll go to the break with RGV on the goal by Aldo Quintanilla, his fourth of the season, a long-range strike past Wade Hamilton. And Los Dos, who'd come in scoring 12 goals, Devin, in their last 3 games, really didn't have that many premier chances on the RGV net.
Los Dos started off early, and they got off to a good one, but unfortunately fell behind. With RGV, they got their goal, but you expected better from Wade Hamilton. Should have made the save, should he have not? Only time would tell on that one. Hit the back of the net, but they got to be better in the second half. RGV use the width more frequently. Los Dos, back to the drawing board. You're behind.
Our halftime festivities are next. beautiful evening in South Texas, and RGV leading Los Dos 1-0. Aldo Quintanilla in the 14th minute. And we're going to take a look at the first half highlights, which of course will feature the Quintanilla goal, which was a tricky shot as it turns out for Wade Hamilton to save.
Again, Los Dos getting going early on, and Efrain Alvarez, we saw him up top alone, isolated, but steps out for the corner kick duties. Knocks an interesting ball into the front post. That was the second time in a row from Galaxy 2, trying to play something in near post, get a little flick on. But good job from him stepping back up, and this is the goal. Again, good build-up. Started with Perea, ball played into Zaldivar, into Wharton, and Wharton really smart, great vision from the former national champion at UVA. And you see him knocks the ball into Quintanilla, takes one touch, looks up. Hamilton could have been off his line a little bit, is able to get back, but again, it's swerving, it's ducking, and that's really difficult for a goalkeeper. You see the ball's got no spin on it whatsoever. A little bit of a knuckler that he had to deal with.
Yeah, Wharton will pick up his third assist on that. There you see against the creativity of Alvarez. It just missed on this opportunity for Zubak. And that's kind of how the half has gone for LA Galaxy 2. They haven't had that many great opportunities. Here's one for Enriquez. And he just ended up blasting this thing almost to San Antonio.
It's been the same story for RGV and Los. It's inconsistent on both sides of the ball for both squads. Going forward, we've seen it from RGV. Anytime that they've had any success whatsoever, they've been able to stretch the field, use the entire diameter. They just need to be less sporadic, need to be much more frequent with it. Get into that triangle play that we've seen has been so prolific. There's another good representation right there. Combination down on the side, down to the corner. But again, there's just been a little bit of a disconnect between the midfielders and the strikers at times. Los Dos, they are so one-dimensional. You can see it coming from a mile away. They win the ball, they try and go forward, play that long ball. There's no synthesis whatsoever between the back line and the boys up top. It's basically the center backs, and Efrain can't win that way.
Well, for the team that came in with 12 goals in their last 3 games, LA Galaxy 2, just 2 shots, and really only the one save that Cordy had to worry about making. Corner kicks is an interesting stat for LA with 5 to RGV with only 1. 2 disciplines against LA. Requejo and Boucher hit with yellow cards. Possession, pretty much even, but the only thing that matters, the top number, RGV 1-0 over Los Dos. Well, it's been another great week in the USL. Week number 10 was loaded with some outstanding plays. Let's take a look back. The best of the USL Week 10.
If you ever wondered what 102 appearances for your club looks like documented, there it is in TIFO right there. Brad Ring.
Oh, and it's a goal. What a strike from Los Dos. Efrain Alvarez has come into the game. 15-year-old strikes it. Now Alvarez with a shot. And what a strike by Alvarez, who now has 6 goals in the last 3 matches.
Now just outside the 18, strikes it with his right foot, and right on cue. A huge goal.
And finds Langsdorff. He takes the shot and puts it in the back of the net. Langsdorff has a brace in the first half.
Takes hesitation step, and it's the save produced by Eric Dick.
Saved by Crapo.
Put numbers back. Will strike it and put it in the back of the net. Marvin Loria likely seals the 3 points with his first ever goal in USL.
This one comes into the center. There's your goal! The goal! The goal for OKC! The header by Callum Ross. The streak is over, and the Greens have the lead 1-0. The power outage is no more.
Herbert's. And Herbert's great looking shot that Vaughn Williams has to knock away for a corner.
Wow, Sandoval. Levels off with Gallagher. Knocked up and palmed aside by Ranjatsing.
Out Lake Stadium. Ball sent in the box. Rowdy's trying to keep it out. The shot taken and what a save by Akira Fitzgerald. Oh boy.
Saved by Crapo, the follow-up from Rip Myers there. And no, he won't. Still 0-0 in the 51st minute.
Hesitation shove, and it's the save produced by Eric Dick. Going to his right.
So I hope you enjoyed that, USL, with another outstanding weekend of action. And this is kind of the lead-in to that weekend. The only game in league play tonight is this one here at HEB. Well, 3 is a magic number in many sports, and it certainly is in the USL. And Efrain Alvarez with that remarkable hat trick and the only win for Los Dos over St. Louis FC. Foster Langsdorff against Los Dos on the 18th, and of course Ethan Zubak against St. Louis FC. So where is that for Los Dos tonight? At the moment, not there. The RGV defense hasn't given up a goal in now 2.5 games. And will they be able to maintain that and pick up 3 points as they lead this one 1-0? Almost a full moon over Edinburgh, Texas tonight. There is our score. We're just about ready to begin the second half. We'll see if either side has any changes. In the meantime, we'll look ahead before this half begins and show you what's up for RGV, and a very difficult road game coming up for RGV on June 4th at Real. Then P2. OKC Energy, they finally get off the Schneid on Saturday, picked up a goal. Phoenix Rising, that's never easy. And then they go into St. Louis to finish out the month of June.
You're going to see some very different looks between the two schedules upcoming. Toro's going to have to deal, as you said, Dave, with some very formidable foes. 4 teams inside the top 9. Obviously going to be difficult to come by some points. Los Dos, on the other hand, I have a little bit different of a go of it, and you're going to get a look right off the bat jumping out, and they're going to deal with a couple teams, Vegas, Tulsa, Orange County. Fortunate enough for them, those 3 games are at home. Then they have to go to OKC and then to Tulsa. But again, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games out of their next 6. They're going to be teams 12th or lower. Twice they're going to play Tulsa, who's at the bottom of the barrel.
So we'll see if that is, and that's the one team OKC beat before they won on Saturday. So you're right, the Energy, perhaps they're getting their act together, but they have a long way to go to be a threat so far in the Western Conference. Los Dos in the white. And we're just waiting for our referee to tell us to play, and we'll do it for half number 2. And we'll see what the approaches are, the changes made by the 2 managers, Mike Munoz for LA Galaxy 2 and Jerson Echeverry for RGV, as they try to continue their unbeaten string, but instead of 4 consecutive draws, RGV looking for a W, of course, and Los Dos looking for their first win away from home.
Good news for Los Dos in that situation. RGV, though, they're out in front 1-0, and they're riding that 5-game unbeaten. Talked about the 1 win and 4 draws all in succession. RGV only has 1 win when leading at half. They've got 2 losses in that situation, so that bodes well for the visitors.
Adam Lundqvist has come in, number 27, right there at the bottom of your screen, in for Jared Watt. So one of the 3 substitutions for RGV. And then LA has made 1 also. Bradford Jamison is out. And Miguel Aguilar, number 47, will take his place. So each manager with a substitution at the half. So they both have 2.
Aguilar, someone who can play on the right or the left. Be interesting to see if he decides to leave Achampong out on that left-hand side. Very active in the first half. Not surprising by Mike Munoz making the change. Bradford Jamison, we talked about him only being utilized on the left side or up top for the most part so far. You could see him kind of lost in translation in the first half. Not really getting involved in the play going forward a lot. Most of the stuff on the left-hand side of the pitch for both squads, to be fair. Although Enriquez did a good job at the beginning of the first half. Rightfully so, Munoz going to the bench, bringing in Aguilar, who through all of the accolades that Efrain Alvarez has received this year, he's got a goal and 2 assists of his own. Scored his first goal just last week versus T2 in that 7-3 drubbing that ended up being. Hard to believe, but if you watch the game, folks, you'll understand 3-3 going to the 80th minute. You never saw that coming.
No, and it's funny. I watched the game a few days after it was played. I knew the score and thought, and I even went back and checked the score right about the 80th minute, and I thought, I must have read that wrong. And then, of course, it turned out that Portland managed to get 4 goals in about 14 minutes, including 3 in extra time.
You said something to me when we were chatting on the conference call, and you couldn't believe that that was the outcome of the match.
Really couldn't. Every once in a while you watch something and you go, I know what's going to happen, but how? But I will tell you, it was entertaining, and the goals from LA were spectacular. Just defensively, they fell apart. In fact, I thought they had played, remember they had a player with a caution early. I thought, they must have had the guy sent off and they played with 10. No, they didn't. It just happened. Give Portland credit for taking full advantage of it. Now an opportunity here for RGV, and Lundqvist will march off to take this corner kick. It'll be the second corner kick for HGV, so Lundqvist getting involved very early on. far, far post and had her way off the mark.
Right there, something that Gerson Echeverry told us they've been struggling with is set pieces, and that's a good representation. You see a ball swung into the back post, and I don't mind the idea. Long lofted ball, big tall center forward Max Steve standing at 6'4", but if you're going to play the ball back there, why are there two other guys standing right behind him trying to get in on the act? Get back into the middle box, let him knock something across, kind of crash the penalty mark if so, and put something on frame. Again, the discombobulation by RGV just showing that they haven't been able to get it done in the set piece situation. Gerson said that they're going to start devoting more time into that, try and take advantage of those opportunities.
They are playing tonight with Max Steves, a Houston Dynamo player. He was the intended target there. And Steve now taking off on his own, trying to get around Jonathan Hernandez, but a fine tackle by Angola sets up the throw-in. And Lundqvist turns it over to the 15-year-old, Efrain Alvarez. Alvarez now at Chimpong. Alvarez gets it, draws a lot of attention, and is taken down. Foul will go against RGV. And Alvarez better get used to the attention.
He's in the limelight now. That's the main stage, and it's only going to get bigger for him. At the top of our broadcast, I talked about the United States wanting to keep him domestic. He has capped for the U15s, and most recently stepped over the border a little bit to Mexico, capping for the U17s. Well, guess what, United States soccer fans, it's going to get a little bit worse. He's been called back into the U17 Mexican national team camp. Fortunately enough for us, doesn't count until he reaches the senior level, so keep an eye on that.
Launched in, wide, on the effort, on the rebound by Aguilar. A good look there at the change made by Mike Munoz at halftime.
Miguel Aguilar, another skilled tactician on this team, and good ball played in. You can see a nice battle with Kyle Adams and the boys up top. Just sprays out. Aguilar form a little bit off, see him leaning a little bit too much, catches it on the outside of a boot and just sails it over the bar.
Now it's going to go against Los Dos fairly obviously as Zunga taking down an RGV player. That's Perea that got tripped. If you want to get exclusive video content and photography from across the USL, the best thing to do is follow the league's official Instagram account at USL Soccer. So let's see what the idea is here, speaking of set piece opportunities. Lundqvist comes in low and hard, headed off the line. This could be dangerous here with Hernandez, or make that 47 Aguilar on the break. Centering, and only one white shirt around there, and that was Zubak. Nobody else was there in time.
It's not a bad idea from Aguilar, but unfortunately kind of pushed his pace a little bit too much, overran the run itself. When he played it into Zubak, he had already made the commitment. Was crashing the near post, ball played in behind him. As you mentioned, Dave, not a supporting cast member to step in and help out in that situation. They need to have more guys in on the box or hold it up. Play the ball a little bit sooner too. Play just kind of dissolved.
So Alvarez, see what he does with this corner kick. Oh, that was pretty dangerous, and Adams got a foot on it. Couple of battles in the air. Aguilar wound up and bombed a long shot, and Enriquez now for Quintanilla. Quintanilla's got some room. Looking back for Enriquez off of Hernandez, and he will sweep it away.
Not exactly sure what Quintanilla was thinking in that situation. Isolated out on the wing. We've seen him go one-on-one before. Loves taking players on. Possesses all that skill, but deciding to try and pick out the far post of Enriquez. It's almost a cutting off your nose to spite your face situation where you're just going tit for tat, playing it to the back post and putting another guy in the same situation that you're currently in. Why not have a go and try and challenge someone? Let the midfield come up, help you out. That triangle play we talked about, you're seeing it on the right now.
Yep, Quintanilla again trying to get it to Steve, but it's going to be headed away, but not all the way out of danger, that's for sure. And RGV keeping on the pressure. Now it belongs to Alvarez. Alvarez, long ball. And you can tell that it's going to be an offside.
If you're a Toro fan, something to keep an eye on. Dynamo player Adam Lundqvist just came on at halftime, and we talked about the substitution. Jared Watts was a Dynamo player as well. And Lundqvist coming over from Sweden. He spent his entire time with IF Elfsborg, both in their youth academy and the first team. Made well over 100 appearances. And they signed him on April 28th, and you can see how high of a line he likes to play.
That's going to be turned away by the referee's assistant. And a good look there at Wade Hamilton, who comes in with a goals against average of 2. Giving up 1 tonight. And 1 clean sheet on the year. He will launch. Nope. He'll take the short route instead. That was a dangerous switch and didn't work out very well as Aldevar intercepted. Angola high up to deflect that away. Quintanilla didn't work out for him. And Gerson Echeverry looking for a second win on the year. 4 straight draws. 3 of those 4 draws did not feature a goal. The other was a very exciting 2-2 draw with Fresno. And back to the keeper carefully as Alvarez was crashing. And Adams did a good job to screen the youngster away from Nick Corti.
Risky stuff by Kyle Adams, was your starting left back, but as Adam Lundqvist steps on, we've seen Kyle Adams play that left center back position before, so he's going to shift in. 27 going to jump outside. Talked about that high line that Adam likes to play. Now Kyle Adams is going to have to be much more head on a swivel type player tonight. Not going to have those isolated duties on the out-hand side of the pitch. Got to keep the big picture in check. Keeping constant communication with his goalkeeper, Nico Corti. You could see they were on a different page just moments ago.
So a foul going against Hernandez. And RGV chooses to play back. Castellanos. He'd only logged 90 minutes going into tonight. Wharton is now the only player who's played every minute this season for RGV. Well, Enriquez got turned around. If that had hit him properly, that could have been really dangerous. And a throw-in coming up here for Los Dos. A little forechecking by Perea. Now to Alvarez, too far for him. Castellanos will get there instead. Aldevar may have been hit in the head inadvertently. He bounced back up pretty quickly when he didn't hear a whistle. Stolen away by RGV. Close quarters here. A lot of players around the ball. Now we're going to get a foul against Galaxy.
A look moments ago of the little high boot by Requejo. Aldevar stepping up into space. Smart by the winger to try and take advantage of the ball, just kind of spraying away from the left back a little bit.
Enrique's fighting for position, and let's see, this is going to turn out to be a throw-in for RGV, and a very unhappy Jonathan Hernandez spiked the ball, and is getting a quick word from the official. Did not get a caution for that, for delay. And all the way back to the keeper we go. Now a steal here for Los Dos. Zubak trying to find a shot. It is deflected by Castellanos, and another corner kick coming up for Los Dos.
All these isolated incidents for Los Dos are continuing to add up. And it's frustration from a possession standpoint. You see Zubak going in. Kyle Adams just gets turned around. The center back lost, to say the least, at the top of his box. Unfortunately, Zubak can't make the most of that opportunity. And again, it's that one-on-one battle that they continue to struggle with, where they get going and they get that momentum, but there's no team members stepping up on the other side to help out.
Alvarez comes in, goes far post. It's too far, going to be headed away by Adams, and it will do it on the other side. And this time Boucher will rush in. Now Boucher comes in, and it's headed away by Adams. Los Dos trying to keep the pressure on. Launched into the box. Adams one more time getting his head on it. And a reset for Galaxy 2. Lundqvist fighting for position. And just missed on that pass. And we're going to get a substitution in here, and it's Adrian Vera who will come in. And Achimpong will check out.
Mike Munoz just going pawn for pawn here, bringing in another left midfielder. Adrian Vera likes to get up and down the field as well. This will be his 6th appearance for Los Dos. So get to see the speedy youngster put on display one more time.
He comes on with some fresh legs, doesn't he?
It's always frustrating. You've been on since the beginning of the game. The substitute comes on, just starts running. It's like, come on, man, slow down. Give me a chance to get myself back up to speed.
It's like a puppy playing with older dogs. The older dogs want you to slow it down just a little bit.
Good story. I was 15 years old playing with the U19 squad. I was at a showcase tournament down in Florida, and being that I was a little bit younger, I possessed the technical capability. Not like the youngsters on Los Dos, but some of the guys were, well, not say some of them, most of them were much bigger than me. A 15-year-old and 19-year-old is a big difference.
Oh, yeah.
From a growth standpoint. I was playing outside on the left before I made the shift back into defense as a center back. This guy was just beating me apart with his speed. One of my trainers growing up looked at me and said, why don't you just ask him to slow down?
This is dangerous here. Flicked on it just wide. Well, Zubak had an opportunity off a tremendous feed from Hernandez. He just couldn't put it on frame.
It's exactly what you want to see from Los Dos. We talked about them being too one-dimensional. How about this? Love it. Stretch the back line of RGB. Great long ball played in. Zubak frustrated with himself that he can't put anything on frame, but that's better from the visitors. That's exactly what you want to see if you're Mike Munoz.
This kick sent a long way by Corti. Got a cooperating breeze now. And kick knuckleballed a bit. Lundqvist will stop it and try to win possession for RGV as they try to get an attack going, and Hernandez just trucking Enriquez. Doesn't quite agree with it.
You can see Hernandez barking at the 4th official, and Enriquez went to ground. It's difficult to see from our angle. Definitely steps up behind and follows through with his foot, but
well, let's take another look at it, see if this was the right call or not. Looked at first to be the correct call. You know what didn't help him? Extending the arm.
100%. You're spot on, Dave. And that doesn't get you into trouble. And looks like we're going to have someone sent away.
Well, Los Dos is sending a coach to the locker room a little early.
If you're Los Dos, you're approaching the 65-minute mark. Right around the time Jose Munoz make a lot of subs. Just a few weeks ago, we saw him pull a little line change, 3 subs at the 61st minute. All guys coming in and going out. And you've got Frank Lopez, who's got 8 appearances with 5 starts. Didn't start here this evening, obviously, but he's been playing up top a lot with Zubak. Alvarez has actually been playing the 10 position a little bit more. I'd be shocked if Munoz didn't go to his bench, gave Zubak the rest of the night off, and let Lopez step into that offensive prowess.
Well, it'll be his last substitution. He only has the 1 remaining. You have 2 left for Gerson Echeverry and RGV. Now an opportunity here for the net being wide open. Corti gets back. They're taking too much time. Zubak had no goalkeeper as Corti gambled coming off the line, and it almost burned him.
Classy by Ethan Zubak. The young 19-year-old gets out there and he beats Nico Corti, and you're right. He pulls the ball back right here. Should have been played. Adrian Vieira, the substitute, sitting just about 3 yards left of the penalty mark. Ball gets sprayed in, has an opportunity to have a shot. Unfortunately, the passing lane gets closed down. RGV does a good job tracking back, but a missed opportunity.
And Zaldivar gets hit with a caution. That's the first against RGV on the night. And Zaldivar, that's a delay of game yellow card for booting the ball. So now could be dangerous here with Boucher. No, rejected soundly by the 2-man wall. And you had to be careful if you were Los Dos of a counterattack led by Jesus Enriquez. But Aguilar made sure that didn't happen. However, RGV gets it back. So that was kind of a nothing burger for Los Dos.
Los Dos has changed up their formation a few times this year. Most likely it's going to be that 4-4-2, but they like to play a 4-2-3-1 as well. Would have been interesting to see how that would have counteracted against the formation of RGV, who also likes to play that 4-2-3-1.
This is looking like that stretch in the first half of about 10 minutes where Los Dos put the heat on RGV but could not crack through. Hernandez plays it out wide to Aguilar. And again, Adams has been sturdy, gets rid of it. Careful here on the counterattack, and Steve's backed away a little bit, and instead Angola will take it.
It's been good stuff from the visitors, but again, you see, look at all the space. Julian Boucher has got at least 15 yards to his right. Finally, you see Efrain Alvarez coming in. We're playing that 4-4-2, and we talked about how he'll play that 10 spot in the 3-1 formation. He's coming all the way back, but when he steps back, he's got no one else up top to help Ethan Zubak. It's probably the first time we've seen midfielder Aguilar get up there on the right side, and he's been better from a substitution standpoint, but really haven't seen a lot of combination play from Los Dos, and that's why they've really been struggling here this evening.
And Kai Green made a nice tackle and then came up limping. In the meantime, we're going to get Montano coming in, and checking out will be Enriquez. Nope. I don't think he thought he was coming out, but that was his number on the board.
Most likely what's going to happen now with Echeverry deciding to bring Enriquez off and Montano on. You'll probably see Zaldivar shift to the left-hand side and Montano go over to the right.
And a yellow card to Enriquez for not getting off the pitch fast enough.
You can't say he didn't make the stat sheet this evening.
I'm not sure why that was necessary. I really don't. I'm sure there's a good explanation for it. Unless he said something, but he was standing there by himself. He just was a little slow, understanding he was coming off to the sidelines. RGV does have one player who's available tonight, Omar Ontiveros, who is sitting on 4 yellows. We don't know if he's going to see action, as there is one substitution left for both managers. Aguilar and Lundqvist. And again, Adams will get ahead on that. Zaldivar, you could see where he wanted to go with it, but so did Boucher, and he got there first.
Difficult ball to play in there. Too tight of a window.
Alvarez. And he was checked from behind. And it goes to Wharton. And on the attack now, Montano, fresh off the bench. A little slow getting up as the call goes in favor of RGV. Montano from a long way away.
I'll get it.
Played off the net there.
Brings you back to the old days on the training grounds, knocking it over. You miss, you chase. Spent some long runs chasing after the ball.
Not you.
No, never, never.
Zubak tried to cleverly get it over to Vera, but that didn't work out. And that was fouled off, and now Montano with a chance to go forward, and instead RGV will reset. And Lundqvist missing with Steves. 71st minute, and that's the score we've had since minute number 14. And Aldo Quintanilla found the back of the net. So we had talked quite a bit about the defense for RGV and the offense for Los Dos and what kind of game would we get. And our score accurately reflects not many chances for either side. That's certainly not the goal fest that LA had just played a few days ago on a Friday in Portland. This is much more RGV's kind of game.
Could even go a step further than that. Friday in Portland, I mean, they haven't seen less than 10 goals in a game in 4 matches. I mean, that's insane. Excuse me, 7 goals in a game. 7 at Phoenix and 9 at St. Louis. 10 all the way back to T2. You and I were chatting ahead of the broadcast and what we thought the game would be like, what we've dealt with on our own professional ventures recently on our calls. And I said, what do you think? And you said, hopefully I get to see some goals. The games I've been on recently have been a little bit quiet. I said, you're going to hate me.
Yep.
I've seen a boatload.
I've been Mr. Defense. You've been Mr. Offense. Come on, fellas. You're on camera. Don't stop now. And a very quick caution. The echo of the whistle hadn't blown yet. And that cart came flying out.
The referee not happy with Todd Wharton. You gotta remember, sometimes even though the contact isn't there, if the intent is, they'll still go after you. Laws of the game state that that's going to happen. Todd Wharton being rewarded for his efforts. Slowly creeping into that 5-match red area, if you will. That's going to be his 3rd yellow card on the season.
And that's the 3rd on RGV tonight. A little bit too far. No, actually handled very well by Aguilar, and it's going to get a throw-in out of it as Lundqvist knocked it out of bounds. Alvarez. Here's the buildup. What will happen with it here? Vera lays it off. Looking for some room, can't find it. RGV didn't yield any kind of room, and Zaldivar goes the other way to Steves, who tried to go give and go to Zaldivar, but it was interrupted. He'll run it down and get it back. Now Quintanilla ahead to Steves. Steves trying to get around Aguilar. He's getting his shirt pulled a little bit. And it's just going to wind up in a harmless goal kick. That was close to a dangerous call against Los Dos.
I want to track back a little bit further. About 45 seconds ago, Los Dos trying to push numbers in. You're going to get another look. And there's Max Steves getting to the line. See the shoulder charge. Not too much in that situation. But about 45 seconds before that, they did a good job, RGV defensively.
Now Quintanilla on the attack, being muscled a little bit. He'll lay it off. Too much from Montano. Seems like the buildup is okay, then you get the one pass that you need the most to hit, and neither side has been able to make that pass good enough to get a good shot off tonight.
Struggle would be a very kind word, to say the least, but can't really find everything going forward. We talk about Los Dos and their inability to do that on a consistent basis, but RGV smart enough, able to get their goal. But the defensive duties, again, proving that they have the understanding of the game plan of the other squad. And when you and I had the opportunity to chat with Jerson Echeverry, we said, you know, what has changed from your opening 5 games? They started off 0 wins, 3 losses, and 2 ties. Had a boatload of goals put away on them, 11 in the first 5 games to be exact. And he just told us it's the overall defense. It starts up top, that the attacking players do a good job putting pressure on the attack, playing that high line, not letting people to get in behind. He went a little bit further and said that Aldo, Quintanilla, and Todd Wharton have really plugged the holes, and they're not letting the entry balls into the forwards. And you saw it a second ago, 3 players from Los Dos trying to push in. You had 8 players behind the ball for RGV. So they've obviously been working that on the training ground. It's starting to show.
They're no fun to play at HEB, I can tell you that. A lot of teams have told us about how difficult it is to go down there and play. It's not the easiest place in the world to get to. That's always a bit of an advantage when you are the home side. A long ball there, headed away by Arellano. And perhaps Los Dos will counterattack here in minute 76. Too much. And RGV maintains possession. Again, each manager has a substitution in his pocket if he wants it. You mentioned you might see Lopez for Los Dos. Boucher to Alvarez. That's an interesting ball from Alvarez. But Kai Green is equal to the task. As Zubak tried to come back to the middle, but he tossed it right into Green. Now Boucher again. Big time miscommunication there.
Be shocked if Munoz didn't go with Lopez. You only bring 6 people with you on the road, 18-man roster, or excuse me, 17-man roster. Obviously, phenomenal at addition. And you've got Eric Lopez, and that's your backup goalkeeper. And then from there, you've used Adrian Vera and Aguilar in the midfield. Nate Schultz is definitely a marking back. And that leaves you with 2. Frank Lopez, who can play up top, and Emmanuel Apia, who is much more of a midfielder. Not saying that he's not capable of something special going forward, but you're looking for something to help in combination play with Alvarez up top. Zubak really hasn't provided that much.
Ask and you shall receive. We believe Frank Lopez will be checking in here shortly. Still plenty of time. Now coming in from that left side, long ball headed on and over. Another long ball attack, and Zubak had a better crack at than the last one, and he just got a little too high, and the substitution will be made here with Lopez coming in and Hernandez checking out.
Top-notch service from the left-hand side. A great ball played in. See, Kyle Adams was definitely beat. On the outside back substitution, Adam Lundqvist wasn't tucked in enough. It's not his problem. He shouldn't have had to have the duty there, but that was a great ball swung in, and now you're going to get a good look at Frank Lopez. He's been a little bit brighter of a star burning up top for Los Dos, hoping to get something done in the final 12 minutes.
On a take out a defender in Hernandez, so that substitution pretty clear what the intent is, as it should be. Adams will intercept. He's played pretty well, Adams has, as a interrupter of anything Los Dos has done offensively. Careful there with the fresh legs of Lopez chasing after that pass, and Kai Green just kicked it out of bounds. Not a great 30 seconds there for RGV at all. Green rejects that cross. Who will get there first? Zaldivar. Run over by Boucher, and it'll belong to RGV in minute number 80.
Credit to Julian Boucher, because the numbers were there for RGV, and though he's sitting on a yellow card, he didn't go in with a boatload of Malintet. Just a nice little nudge to knock him off the ball. Professional foul, smart by the midfielder.
Cordy will launch. Steve's got a head on it, and just too much for Quintanilla. It's another throw in here for Los Dos. One thing RGV has not done very much of this year is play from ahead, and they've been doing it since the 14th minute now. Montano has a chance here. Goldie came off the line. Montano's first shot is blocked. Never really got a clean look at it here. Quintanilla will strike, and that's blocked also, and that's going to hurt in the morning. Arellano took the full brunt of a hard shot from Quintanilla from close range.
Ball just bouncing around the middle. RGV, the recipients of a fortunate one, to say the least, and able to step up and try and put a crack on goal. Wade Hamilton hasn't really been called into action that much at all this game.
Another throw in for RGV. Quintanilla double marked. Now, Perea drops off for Lundqvist, who will scramble to get to it. Nope, that was an easy read by Angola. And he'll take off with Montano chasing him, and Montano wins it and gets it to Wharton. Wharton, nice ball through here. Quintanilla's got room for Steves. Oh, and a sliding save by Hamilton. RGV could have wrapped this up. RGV continuing to press the issue, putting Los Dos back on their heels. Again, I don't think we're going to have an obscene amount of stoppage time either.
Good ball movement by the Toros, and a ball sprays out to Quintanilla. Plays an absolutely amazing ball across. You can see the disorganization from Los Dos, and it turns to disbelief for Max Steves as he can't finish it off. Credit to Wade Hamilton. Awesome job stepping up into the space, making a great save.
Castellanos all the way back to Cordy. Cordy just hammers this, and the foot race will be won by Hamilton. He'll counter with his own kick as he fell down after the kick, and he kind of sliced it. So it's going to go into the crowd and belong to RGV on the throw-in in the 83rd minute. Switch by Adams. Quintanilla again down that right-hand side. Tried to lay it off for Wharton, and it was just too gentle, and Los Dos able to run it down. Aguilar working it back to Alvarez. Zubak splits out wide right. Through ball here, very dangerous, and Lundqvist able to get there ahead of Aguilar. That pass had evil intent on it. Lopez being marked by Lundqvist, and referee not overjoyed with that little shove in the back from Lundqvist. And we're going to get the final RGV substitution, and that little shove in the back is going to give LA a chance here for Alvarez as the referee gets everything organized. We're going to see the last substitution coming in a moment for RGV. But first, this is dangerous.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Dave. Dangerous territory, especially with talented Efrain Alvarez standing over the ball. See the space on the near post. The balls we've seen tonight, especially the dangerous one, have been knocked right to the near post with a runner trying to get on the end of it.
That's exactly the move here, but it's going to be headed away by the back line. And again, Wharton this time will equal to the task, and RGV may jailbreak this. Now Montano, 1v1, stopped, cold, wow. Absolutely shut down there. RGV could counterattack. They got to get everybody on side first. Quintanilla breaking. Quintanilla, the intended recipient of the pass, and it was just broken up a little bit by Angola, allowing Hamilton to scoop it up. No lack of action in the last several minutes. Now Lopez becoming a danger. And Corti a few minutes away from his 5th clean sheet of the season and his 3rd in a row. And Gerson Echeverry has to feel a little helpless at the moment. All he can do is just root him on and hope his guys execute. Here's a chance now for Steves. No, never mind. Never mind. And now we're going to get that last substitution we've been waiting for. And it will be, speaking of some speed, Jordan Jones will come in. And Steve will check out.
Not the best performance from that young man here this evening. Second time we've seen him in an RGV uniform. Got a couple appearances for the Dynamo. Jordan Jones, I'm big on this kid. I think he did a great job in college. Second team all Pac-12 for Oregon State, but he was actually drafted by LAFC this year. He was drafted 47th overall. They decided not to pick him up. Getting another opportunity here with RGV, and he is something special. He's got the pace, he's got the power, the height, everything. He really knows how to combine well with others. We saw him a few weeks ago with Fresno.
Oh, this is dangerous opportunity here. Strike, and we are equal. Lopez steals one. It's 1-1.
Groundhog Day for Gerson Echeverry and the Toros. Good ball in behind, and Nico Corti not communicating with the boys in the back very well. Kyle Adams still on the trailing runner. Frank Lopez gets out in the open. Nico Corti decides to make the decision, commits. Unfortunately, he overcommits, gets beat by Lopez, and the super sub just picks out the far post for a great finish.
That was a really poised finish because there's a lot going on there. Lopez could have lost it, and he barely got that in, but what a gorgeous, gorgeous shot. And Corti's just going to kick himself. Now there's a foul on Lopez, and a fairly obvious one, and then a little retaliation. Not a smart move.
Especially not when you're sitting on a yellow card.
Yep. Will RGV be stuck with another draw? It would be their 5th in a row. They were minutes away from their 2nd victory of the season. And the long ball working that time for LA Galaxy 2. Stoppage time, I guess 1-2 minutes probably. Another long ball here. Zubak. He's got Alvarez in the middle. Now Alvarez drifting over to help out. Zubak lost it. And the referee will rule this one in favor of RGV.
Game's starting to turn into a track meet, end-to-end type stuff, and Gerson telling us that the reason they've been so good defensively recently, but they've been positive, they've been able to keep themselves in games and give themselves an opportunity to try and find the back of the net. They did it early on Unfortunately, they allowed their opponent to stay close as well. He said, we need to stay tidy defensively and can't let teams stay in games. Can't bleed goals left and right. That's exactly what's going on in the final minutes of this match.
Cordy will launch this as far as he can. Jones fighting for that header. That's a good ball here to Aguilar. Aguilar down the middle, and Lopez almost broke through, but Adams comes away with it, starts the other direction for RGV. Plays a through ball, can it work? No, Angola was alert to that, liked the idea behind it, but the flag was up anyway.
Clever ball in from Kyle Adams. Good vision, smart from the center back, stepping in and winning that challenge, and tries to find the runners up top. Unfortunately for Aldo, a little bit too direct. Needs to be a little bit more flat and bend it. Try and get him behind Los Dos.
If this result holds, it'll be RGV's 7th draw of the year. And we're going to get 2 minutes of added time. 2 minutes. Montano will get hit with that. And he stepped over the prone player, and that's Aguilar. And now Montano will be hit with a caution. And it might be 2 and a few extra seconds after that. RGV had the lead from the 14th minute until the 87th. Corner kick coming up. Let's see who's going to fire this for Los Dos, and that will be the captain from Germany, Julian Boucher. See how tired he is here. Kind of a kick he fires off into traffic. It's a pretty good kick. Pretty dangerous. And ho, ho, ho. It was Angola who came crashing in. This was close.
See Frank Lopez in on the action. Good ball swung in by Julian Boucher. Right-footed.
Oh, it was Lopez who got his head on it.
Is Lopez trying to pick out that far post. Got to wonder how someone 5'9" is able to crash the party in that situation.
I don't know how he saw it because Angola jumped in front of him. And that's, from my distance, I thought that's who had made the contact, but it was clearly Lopez. Very few seconds remain if the referee sticks to 2 strict minutes, but at the moment, Los Dos on a small break. Zubac, Aguilar turns, blocked by Lundqvist. Montano fighting for position, is taken down. Might be the last chance for either side in this game to do something. Perea will line it up. Goes low to Montano. Switch. Zaldivar. Looking for either Jones or Quintanilla, launching toward the goal. Jones heads it, couldn't get it on goal. And that'll do it. It is another draw for RGV, their 5th straight. Los Dos still does not have a road win, but they pick up a point away from home. They're now 0-5-2 on the road with their 4th draw of the season. RGV 6th draw at HEB Park and 7th on the year. Absolutely incredible. And a goal by that man right there, Frank Lopez, giving the point to Los Dos. We'll have some highlights and final thoughts of this one when we return.
Please make sure to mark your calendars. Be sure to come back on
Well, there is the goal scorer for RGV back at minute number 14, Aldo Quintanilla. Thought that goal might hold up, but Frank Lopez off the bench for LA Galaxy 2 ends up with the equalizer in the 87th minute. This was a tough one for RGV to have to take. Go back early on, and here is the first goal.
Good stuff again from RGV, and you see Wharton just so smart. He sees everybody tracking to the left-hand side, is smart, plays the ball across his body. Quintanilla has positioned himself appropriately, stepped back out of that top side, holding that attacking midfielder role at the 10. Ball comes across, just has a crack from distance, and he's able to beat Wade Hamilton. That was pretty much the most you would see against Hamilton for the most part. Starting to stretch into the second half, things starting to open up. Super sub Frank Lopez stepping on, plays a good ball into Ethan Zubak and was able to get him behind. And Ethan Zubak in the second half was much more active, wasn't in combination with Efrain Alvarez in the first half. Did a good job opening things up for the visitors, getting in behind Corti, tried to go in alone and play a ball across. Lane closes down too early. RGV's able to recover.
And there's another opportunity for Zubak here, and a good long ball.
You have to respect the service that you got from LA Galaxy 2 tonight. Mike Munoz is going to be happy with that, and this is the opportunity for them to close it out. Ball got sprayed outside again, that triangle offense. Quintanilla trying to get in on the supporting role. Plays a good ball across. Steves can't finish it out. Another solid save by Wade Hamilton, and this is the goal. Los Dos gives RGV a taste of their own medicine, able to widen the field up, stretches it, goes with pace, and that is poise from the youngster, able to pick out the far post. You said in the broadcast a lot going on. See 3 RGV players tracking back. Lopez able to finish it off, and they're able to escape with a point. Solid finish from Los Dos.
You see the shots favoring RGV, possession virtually equal. 4 yellows against RGV, just 2 for Los Dos. And of course, nobody was sent off. So another mixed feeling if you're an RGV fan. Yeah, you got a point, but you had this one down to the 87th minute, could not hang on to break, but it's now it's an unbeaten string of 5, but every one is a draw, while Los Dos, their defense obviously had to be better tonight against RGV. They didn't get lit up. They've given up 14 their last 3 games. So for Mike Munoz, I would think he's got to feel fairly good.
They did a good job staying organized, and you have to respect once he made the change and they had to go forward, they were able to keep the collective composure of the backline intact. They were able to keep good shape. When RGV would throw something at them, they could counterpunch. They did a good job. It was deja vu for RGV, but that turned into delight for Los Dos. As you mentioned, they were able to get a point. Only the second time on the road this year they were able to do so.
Next up for RGV, they go on the road against Real Monarchs SLC. That'll be a Monday evening, June 4th, 8 o'clock Central for the RGVFC versus Real Monarchs. That is never an easy trip to make. So this one ends up in a draw at 1. For Devin Kerr and our entire crew, I'm Dave Lamont. We thank you for watching the United Soccer League this evening.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.